Welcome to the F-Bound Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Schroeder, Executive Function Coach. I help neurodivergent women learn tips and strategies to improve the life skills that will help them be successful. Exploring perfectionism and procrastination. Perfectionism and procrastination are two common traits that many people possess. While they may seem like opposite ends of the spectrum, they're actually closely related. In fact, perfectionism can often lead to procrastination, as the fear of not being perfect can cause people to put off tasks or avoid them altogether. Perfectionism is the belief that everything must be flawless, and any mistakes or imperfections are unacceptable. In a perfectionist's mind, a mistake equals failure. This mindset can be detrimental, as it can lead to anxiety, stress, and a fear of failure. Procrastination, on the other hand, is the act of putting off tasks until the last minute or avoiding them altogether. It's often linked to anxiety and fear of failure, as well as a lack of motivation or discipline. The relationship between perfectionism and procrastination is complex, as they can both feed into each other. Perfectionists may put off tasks because they're afraid of not doing them perfectly, while procrastinators may feel they need more time to make something perfect. This can create a vicious cycle where the more a person procrastinates, the more they feel the need to be perfect, and the more they strive for perfection, the more they procrastinate. The concept of perfectionism. Perfectionism is a personality trait that involves setting high standards for oneself and often others, and striving for flawlessness in all aspects of life. It's characterized by a strong desire to achieve perfection and an intense fear of failure or making mistakes. Perfectionists often have an all-or-nothing mentality, believing that anything less than perfection is unacceptable. Characteristics of perfectionists. Perfectionists tend to be highly self-critical and often experience feelings of anxiety and stress. They may have difficulty delegating tasks to others and may become overly focused on details, spending excessive amounts of time on minor aspects of a project. Perfectionists may also struggle with decision-making as they fear making the wrong choice and may become stuck in a cycle of indecision. Some common characteristics of perfectionists include setting extremely high standards for themselves and others, being overly critical of themselves and others, struggling to accept constructive criticism or feedback, feeling a strong need for control and order, procrastinating or avoiding tasks out of fear of failure, having difficulty delegating tasks to others, being highly detail-oriented and meticulous, struggling with decision-making and feeling overwhelmed by choices. Overall, perfectionism can be a double-edged sword. While it can lead to high levels of achievement and success, it can also lead to stress, anxiety, and burnout. It's important to strive for excellence while also recognizing that perfection is unattainable and that mistakes and failures are a natural part of the learning process. Understanding procrastination. Procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks or actions that need to be done. It's a common behavior that affects many people and can be caused by a variety of factors. Procrastination can be harmful because it often leads to stress, anxiety, and poor performance. Procrastination behavior patterns. Procrastination behavior patterns can vary from person to person. Some people procrastinate by avoiding tasks altogether, while others may start a task but then get distracted by other things. Here are some common procrastination behavior patterns. Perfectionism. As mentioned, people who are perfectionists procrastinate because they're afraid of making mistakes or not doing something perfectly. They may spend too much time planning or preparing for a task instead of actually doing it. Fear of failure. People who have a fear of failure may procrastinate because they are afraid of not succeeding or being judged negatively. They may avoid tasks that they perceive as difficult or challenging. Lack of motivation. People who lack motivation may procrastinate because they don't see the value in completing a task. They may feel bored or uninterested in the task and choose to do something else instead. Overwhelm. People who feel overwhelmed may procrastinate because they don't know where to start or how to prioritize tasks. They may feel like they have too much to do and not enough time to do it. Understanding the reasons behind procrastination can help you develop strategies to overcome it and become more productive. Behavioral outcomes of perfectionism and procrastination. The interconnection between perfectionism and procrastination can have negative consequences on a person's behavior. For instance, people who are perfectionists and procrastinators may experience high levels of stress and anxiety. They may also have difficulty completing tasks on time, which can lead to missed deadlines and poor performance. Perfectionism and procrastination can also impact your relationships. For example, perfectionists may be overly critical of their partners, leading to conflicts and dissatisfaction in the relationship. Procrastination, on the other hand, can lead to the neglect of one's partners and their needs, causing strain in the relationship. Impact on mental health. Perfectionism and procrastination can have a significant impact on your mental health. Stress and anxiety. Perfectionism can lead to high levels of stress and anxiety. When you set impossibly high standards for yourself, you may feel like you're never doing enough, and this can create a constant sense of pressure and tension. Procrastination can also contribute to stress and anxiety, as you may worry about not meeting deadlines or not being able to complete tasks to your best of your ability. On the other hand, you might push yourself too hard to meet your goals after procrastinating and do things like pull all-nighters. Such behavior can lead to health issues because you don't get enough sleep. Constantly pushing yourself too hard can also lead to burnout. To manage stress and anxiety related to perfectionism and procrastination, it can be helpful to set realistic goals and break tasks down into smaller steps. It may also be useful to practice relaxation techniques such as deep breathing and meditation. Depression and self-esteem. Perfectionism and procrastination can also impact your mental health by contributing to feelings of depression and low self-esteem. While you're constantly striving for perfection and feel like you're falling short, you might start to feel hopeless or worthless. Procrastination can also lead to feelings of guilt and shame, which can further erode your self-esteem. Because procrastination is such a vicious cycle of putting things off and then feeling bad about putting them off, your self-esteem can take a big hit. To combat depression and low self-esteem related to perfectionism and procrastination, it can be helpful to practice self-compassion and focus on your strengths and accomplishments. Celebrate the progress you make and start shifting your mindset to recognize that making mistakes is part of learning and growing. Strategies for managing perfectionism and procrastination. Cognitive behavioral approaches. One approach that can be helpful to overcome perfectionism and procrastination is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT is a type of therapy that focuses on changing negative thought patterns and behaviors. With CBT, you can learn to recognize when you're engaging in perfectionistic or procrastinating behavior and develop strategies to overcome these habits. One common CBT technique is cognitive restructuring. This involves identifying and challenging negative thoughts that contribute to procrastination and perfectionism. For example, if you find yourself constantly worrying about making mistakes, you can work to reframe these thoughts in a more positive way. Instead of thinking, I can't make any mistakes, you reframe this thought to, it's okay to make mistakes and I can learn from them. Time management techniques. Another strategy for managing perfectionism and procrastination is to develop better time management habits. This can involve setting realistic goals and deadlines, breaking tasks into smaller steps, and prioritizing tasks based on their importance and urgency. One time management technique that can be helpful is the Pomodoro technique. This involves breaking your work into 25-minute intervals with short breaks in between. By working in short bursts, you can stay focused and avoid getting overwhelmed by large tasks. Another time management technique is to use a planner or scheduling tool. This can help you stay organized and ensure that you're allocating your time effectively. You can use tools like to-do lists or task managers to keep track of your tasks and stay on top of deadlines. By using these strategies, you can overcome perfectionism and procrastination and become more productive and efficient in your work. Remember, it takes time and effort to break these habits, but with persistence and the right tools, you can achieve your goals. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the F-Bomb podcast. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe below and check out my show notes to learn more about my Facebook group, courses, and membership.